Right, so this is a quick recap of the Star Wars film Episode 2, the Clone Wars. Right, so opening titles appear in space, and they sort of read like, oh, everyone's annoyed in the Senate, several star systems want to leave the Republic, the Separatist movement led by Count Dooku is making it hard for the Jedi's to maintain peace and order in the galaxy. Senator Amidala, used to be the Queen, returns to the Senate to vote on the issue of creating an army to help out the old Jedi's. So the senator lands on Coruscant, and this guy gets off the ship, and he's like, "Ah, oh, it's a nice safe journey, wasn't it?" And then the ship blows up, and the Queen's decoy dies, and well, not the Queen, sorry, the senator. And the senator, they don't make as much of a fuss over the current Queen as they do the former Queen for some reason. Anyway, so Senator Amidala walks into this room and says, "I think Count Dooku tried to have me done in." And Mace Windu's like, no, he used to be a Jedi. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Chancellor Palpatine says, right, you need some protection. Obi-Wan can do it. I don't want you to all die. So Obi-Wan and Anakin go to meet the Senator, and Anakin's a bit nervous to see her because, he likes her and that. Anyway, they meet her, and she friend-zones him straight away. Straight away she friend-zones him. And then Padme then says, right, I want to find out who's trying to kill me. And Obi-Wan's like, well, we're not starting an investigation. It's not in our job description. Anakin says, yeah, we can find a killer, no worries, it's alright. And Obi-Wan says, look, mate, we're not getting paid to find a killer, so no, we're not going to find a killer. Know your place, geezer. So Anakin uses Padme as bait to catch this killer. Padme has a kip and R2-D2 guards her. Some bugs get in a room and they take care of them. There's this drone at the window, and Obi-Wan jumps on it, holds on, and the drone's flying through the city, he's holding on, he holds on for a while, he manages to fall off, Anakin saves him, and then they chase this assassin who's driving through the city. They chase her all through the city, and then they chase her into this club, and they don't pay entry into the club. And Obi-Wan's at the bar, and some drug dealer comes up to him and says, like, oh, do you want some death sticks? And he's like, mate, evaluate your life, mate. Obi-Wan and Anakin capture the assassin. They say, who do you work for? She says, a bounty hunter. But then she's done him before she can say the bounty hunter's name. So they go to the Jedi Council, and they say, right, let's tell them what happened, and they say, right, Obi-Wan, you catch the bounty hunter, find out who they're working for, and he can look after the Senator, take her back to Naboo, make sure she gets home safely. Obi-Wan says to Yoda and Mace Windu, Anakin's a bit arrogant recently, ain't he? Have you noticed that? And they're like, yeah, he's a bit of a knob. He's a bit of a knob recently. I can see what you mean. And the Queen leaves Jar Jar Binks in her place as Senator, and Anakin says to Padme, they're talking, and he says, right, Obi-Wan's holding me back a bit. He's annoyed at Obi-Wan. He tries it on with Padme again, but she shuts him down. Anakin, Padme, and R2-D2 go off to Naboo. Obi-Wan looks in the Jedi archives for a planet called Kamino, but he can't find it. Anakin tries to chat up Padme again. Yoda tells Obi-Wan the planet must have been deleted from the Jedi archives. It's weird that, go and find it. Padme and Anakin meet with the new Queen of Naboo. Obi-Wan finds Kamino, and he gets there, and he's told, oh, the Prime Minister's waiting for you. And he meets the Prime Minister, and he's told that Sifro Dyas, who used to be a member of the Jedi Council, ordered the creation of a clone army 10 years ago. And Obi-Wan's like, well, this is news to me. And he can't ask Sifro Dyas, because he's dead. So Anakin and Padme kiss, and then Padme's like, right, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry about that. The Prime Minister says the clone army were based on this bounty hunter called Jango Fett. And they said all Jango Fett wanted was an unaltered clone of himself. And they're like, it's weird that, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, it's weird, yeah. I don't know. Don't know why I'd want to do that. Anyway, Anakin and Padme, they're having a great old time. They're in the old sunshine, rolling around in the grass, talking and all that. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan, he meets Jango Fett and says, this Sifro Dyas? And Jango says, no, I was ordered by Cyrus to create this army. And Obi-Wan's like, right, I don't trust this guy. And Jango tells his son, right, we're leaving, mate, we're leaving. Anakin is still trying to chat up Padme, and she's like, sorry, it's not going to happen, so Anakin's annoyed. Obi-Wan talks to Mace Windu and Yoda via the old hologram and says, he tells about the clone army, and Yoda and Mace are like, we didn't authorise this, I don't remember this, bring Jango here. Anakin has a nightmare about his old ma and tells Padme, I sense my old ma's in danger, I need to help her out. Obi-Wan and Jango Fett have this massive punch-up, it's mental, it goes on for ages, and they're really going for each other. Anakin arrives on Tatooine with Padme, and they meet up with Watto, and Anakin says, "Where's my old ma?" And Watto says, "I sold her. She got married to this farmer." Obi-Wan then follows Jango Fett's spaceship. Jango Fett's, shooting at him. They go through an asteroid field, and he thinks Obi-Wan's dead. He thinks like the spaceship blew up, but it's not. It's just hid on a rock. Obi-Wan follows him to a planet called Geonosis. Anakin sees C-3PO, and he's like, "Alright, how you doing? Yeah, nice to see you again." He meets his stepbrother. He's like, "Alright, how you doing? Yeah, nice to meet you." He meets his old stepman. He's like, "Alright, how you doing? Yeah, yeah. Anyway, where's my old ma?" And he's like, sorry to say this, but she's been kidnapped by some Tusken Raiders. Anakin says, "Padme, stay with my step-family. I'm going to find my old ma." She's like, "Alright, be safe, wear an helmet." He doesn't wear an helmet. Obi-Wan, on Geonosis, he overhears a meeting between Count Dooku and the leaders of the Commerce Guilds, and it turns out they're behind the Separatist movement and the Droid Army, and it turns out Nute Gunray ordered the assassination of Senator Amidala. Anakin finds his ma. She dies in his arms. Anakin takes revenge on her captors. Yoda sort of senses Anakin's having a hard time. Obi-Wan tries to contact Anakin, and he finds out like his tracking system's coming from Tatooine. He's like, stranger, what's he doing there? Anakin brings back his ma's old dead body to his step-family's home, and he says to Padme, "I killed the Tusken Raiders, the men, the women, the children. I went a bit mad." And she's like, it happens. Obi-Wan gets captured. Mace Windu, he gets on the old hologram to Anakin and says, "Right, we'll rescue Obi-Wan, you take care of Padme." Padme says, "Right, let's go rescue Obi-Wan." Anakin's like, we shouldn't, but yeah, alright, go on then." Obi-Wan's captured, and Count Dooku says to him, "Right, loads of the Senate are under the influence of the Sith and Lord Sidious. Come join us, we'll have a right laugh." Obi-Wan's like, nah. And Count Dooku's like, "Alright, suit yourself then. Alright, suit yourself." Jar Jar Binks gives emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine says, "I call the clone army into battle." Padme and Anakin arrive on Geonosis, and they get into some trouble in a factory, and then they get captured by Jango Fett and some droids. And Padme tells Anakin she loves him, they kiss, and then they're sent off to die. They're brought into this massive arena to be executed, and they see Obi-Wan there. And Obi-Wan's like, he's chained up, and they're like, "Oh, what are you in here for? What are you doing here?" And they go, "Well, we came here to save you, mate." And he's like, "Well, you ballsed up, didn't you?" And so, they're all chained up, and they're confronted by some big creatures with like big teeth and guys with spears, and they fight their way out. They manage to get free, and Count Dooku sends in some droids, and then Mace Windu and loads of Jedis arrive. And more droids arrive, and there's this massive battle, droids versus Jedis, and the Jedis are wiping them out. And then Mace Windu in this battle kills Jango Fett. Then there's some more droids appear, and Count Dooku calls the droids to ceasefire and says, "Right, surrender." Mace Windu's like, "Nah, up yours, mate." And then Yoda arrives with some clones, the clone army, and some more droids appear, and another massive battle ensues, and they sort out the droids in the stadium, and they go around the planet just taking out all the droids. Nute Gunray, Count Dooku, and some of the other main villains, they leg it. Count Dooku says, "Right, I'm going Coruscant," and he's taking the plans of the old Death Star with him. Padme falls out of this ship, and Anakin's like, "Oh, I need to go help her." And Obi-Wan's like, "Mate, lads before slags, we need to capture Count Dooku." And she was fine anyway, she got up, she dusted herself off. Mace Windu says to Yoda, "Right, we've sorted out the army." Anakin and Obi-Wan, they fight Count Dooku. Count Dooku takes out Anakin first, and he fights Obi-Wan. Then he takes Obi-Wan out, then Anakin saves him. Then he takes Anakin out as well, and so he's taken them both out. Then Yoda arrives, Yoda's here, and Yoda and Count Dooku fight, and then Count Dooku legs it. Yoda saves the Jedis, and so then Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Mace are talking, and Obi-Wan is like, if it weren't for those clones, we wouldn't have had that result against the droids today. They're the good bunch of lads, them. And Yoda's like, "Well, mate, it wasn't a result. We've not won. It's not victory." And Anakin and Padme get married. That's old Star Wars Episode 2. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, there you go.